Welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today I thought I would bring you the weapon changes and the vehicle changes that are coming in 3.14, and they are very significant. So you definitely want to pay attention to this. This is straight from the Evocati patch notes. No, I'm not an Evocati, so I'm not under any kind of NDA. Also, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button. It really helps this channel out a lot. Make sure you hit the bell icon to know when I do more of these videos. And if you want to be a contributor to this channel, you can do that through the Patreon or YouTube members. That'll be in the description of the video. Also, tonight at 9 o'clock Central or 8 o'clock Central time, I'm going to release a Star Citizen ASMR. It's just kind of like a test to see if people like that sort of thing. So check that video out and let me know in the comments of that video if you like it or if you don't like it. Let's get into this video. So they released this to the Evocati. Well, Evocati has been working on it for the last couple of weeks, really. So here's what the write-up says. Star Citizen Alpha 3.14 has a lot of changes when it comes to spaceship and vehicle combat. So due to the introduction of capacitor gameplay and power management version 2 and missile operator mode, they had the opportunity to review and rebalance almost all of the combat stats. So now the first thing they're talking about is shields. The design goals were that they wanted fast regenerating shields on fighters, and they want smaller ships needing to grind through bigger shields very slowly rather than insta-regen. So yeah, and they want players to feel more in control of what their shields are doing. Shield regen rate is dictated by the power triangle, so you'll kind of get a better idea how that goes. The brief that they gave was the changes to the shields are not extensive, but for the initial release, they wanted to remove some non-player facing delays and try to split the generator sizes for certain ship classes. So like size 0 and size 4, there's no changes to those sizes currently, but they only contain vehicle-specific shield generators. Whereas size 1, high gen hit point ratio, or high gen per hit point ratio, low hit point overall. Typically used on small fighters and transporters, kind of like the Gladius, and it's bubble shields only. So that could be a big thing in the future. Shield size 2, they have normal regen rates versus hit point ratio, versus hit points ratio, and about 4 times more hit points compared to size 1. That's significant. Typically used on heavy fighters and larger ships like a Freelancer or a Vanguard, and it's bubble shields only as well. Size 3 shields be large multi-crew ship sizes, about 10 times more hit points compared to size 2, and typically used on heavy multi-crew ships like the Reclaimer. It has quad faces or above, so it's no longer bubble shields when you get the size 3 shields. You're talking about different facings and everything else. So 10 times more hit points than size 2, and size 2 is 4 times more hit points than size 1. So you're looking about 40 times more hit points than the size 1 shield on those size 3s. Additionally, they made some other changes to shield generators in the same class temporarily. All have the same stats to aid in the initial balancing pass, but that will change. Shield hardening has been removed as it did not produce any interesting gameplay choices, and they will redevelop it at a later point. The shield UI has changed slightly, and a lot of the time dynamics and shield regen has been removed to make it easier to predict when the shields will be up again. The regen rate is dictated by the power triangle, as we said before. Powering off one shield generator will remove the shield properties from the shield system. So you'll have half the hit points and regen if you turn off 1 or 2 generators. That makes sense. So let's move on to weapons. So their design goals for weapons were weapon loadout must matter and be meaningful. The player should choose carefully when to employ the weapons, and tapping down on the fire button should not be a valid combat strategy. So just, holding, spraying, and parrying, that's not going to be valid anymore. Every weapon should have pros and cons, and energy weapon regen rate is dictated by the power triangle as well, and make player-controlled turrets more powerful. So the brief that they gave was that there's a lot of updates concerning weapons and their new associated capacitors and how ammo and regen distribution works for energy weapons. In 3.14, every ship has a capacitor item that produces ammo for energy guns. So I was telling you this a couple of patches ago. Some people in the comments said that's stupid and it's not going to happen. Well, they're putting it in. This item is not visible, but in the future they want to make a proper swappable item for it. So yeah, capacitor gameplay is going to kind of make it ammo like for energy guns. So two variables come into play: regen, so that's how fast the ship can replenish energy ammo, and then ammo load, so how much energy ammo the ship can hold at the same time. Both regen and ammo load are distributed across all powered energy weapons on a ship. So if you have one energy cannon and two energy repeaters, you have the choice to disable the energy repeaters. The ammo load and regen will then be distributed completely to the energy cannon. That means that one energy cannon will not just be able to hold more ammo, but will also regenerate faster. So if you have weapons split like that, then you may want to turn some weapons off in order to get the bigger... Let's take the glaive. The Vandal Glaive, for instance. It's got the two pea shooters on the front. They're size 1s, and then it's got the two size 5 cannons on the wingtips. I'm going to straight up tell you, I'm disabling those size 1s. They're useless. I'm going to completely disable them so I can use those cannons. And, that will give me faster regen and more ammo to those cannons before I have to regenerate all that ammo again, so to speak. So definitely a viable way to use it. So in addition, they're giving each weapon category an intended purpose. So this is long overdue. I know it's been something that they've talked about, but now it's actually going in. So energy repeaters size 1 to size 4 are dedicated anti-fighter weapons. Should also be the most dangerous energy weapons against fighters. Well, that's kind of why they're dedicated anti-fighter weapons. And it has normal regen and ammo load cost. So your energy repeaters, that's what you're going to use against enemy fighters. That you need to have that in mind. Now, if that's only up to size 4. Now, if you get the size 5, it's dedicated anti-large ship weapons. So relatively high fire rate to keep larger multi-crew ships, their shields under strain. And it's got a normal regen and ammo loadout. So you're going to be shooting commies and freelancers and stuff like that with size 5s and above. Energy cannons, so not repeaters, but cannons, size 1 to 4. They are fighter-carried anti-large ship weapons. So the glaive that I was talking about, that is, those cannons on the wings are going to be better against larger ships, and it's going to be very hard to hit the smaller ships with it, but I don't care. I'm still going to use it that way. So they should not be very effective in dogfighting against other fighter classes, and the regen and ammo load cost is reduced to make it more efficient than repeaters. Very interesting that the cannons are going to be functioning that way. But yeah, if you have cannons on a smaller ship, that's going to be geared towards shooting against those bigger ships. Energy cannons size 5 and up are dedicated anti-large ship weapons that are very low fire rate, very high damage. The regen and ammo loadout cost is reduced to make it more efficient than repeaters. So yeah, I mean, that we already talked about that, so makes sense. Now, if you want to go into the ballistic weapons, this is what they have for ballistics. They should have the same RPM as energy weapons of the same class, except for certain specialized weapons. They will have a higher damage output compared to the energy weapons and penetrate shields. They also have a higher range compared to energy weapons, and they want ballistics to be specialized weapons in general. So ballistics are going to be very strong alpha strike weapons, and they're not supposed to be good choice for long duration engagements, which they aren't now either. Ballistics should feel limited in terms of ammo, but be very powerful when you employ them. So that's what they're wanting for ballistic guns. Now, scatter guns, both energy and ballistic, are now going to be very specialized short-range weapons. Very high risk, but high reward. They're going to have very high damage output that cannot be employed as easy as before. I don't know exactly what that means, Scatterguns can be kind of rough to employ unless you're up close and personal already. Distortion changes will come later, and it needs a lot of discussion, so the entire thing will be, dealt with at a later date. They'll also tackle the interception mechanic as well. So weapon loadouts. To reflect the intended gameplay changes, they've adapted a lot of the default loadouts on some ships. So defensive ship turrets will now always be equipped with energy repeaters, and offensive ship turrets are supposed to be equipped with either energy repeaters or energy cannons. What does that mean? Well, the Hammerhead has a bunch of, I don't know if you want to call it offensive or defensive. Something like a Connie or the Freelancer has defensive turrets for sure, so they'll have repeaters. The Hammerhead is another story, because those are very offensive in mind. Are they going to be cannons? I think they're still going to be repeaters, because they need to be able to take on fighters. It's an anti-fighter ship, so that's what I think on that. But no turret has scatter guns due to the limited range, and no turret should have ballistics equipped unless it is for a special role, like a dropship. So that's going to disappoint some people, but they don't want the turrets to serve that purpose. So scatter guns should not be a default weapon, as they are a specialized weapon. And on default loadouts, energy weapons should make up at least 50% of all equipped weapons. So take that as you will. And by default, the default fire group 1 should usually be assigned to energy weapons, and fire group 2 to ballistics. Of course, players can customize everything the way they want, so all that will be thrown out the window eventually. Thrusters and ship tuning. So the design goal is to tune each ship towards the role that it should fulfill, and do not have the best ship for everything. So there's no end-all be-all ship. It's not going to be a god tier of everything. The G-force numbers should make sense based on the fighter class, and the G-force numbers should reflect what humans can roughly endure. Boost, formerly Afterburner, will give you only a short time advantage, but player must be conscious or make a conscious choice to employ it. The boost regen is dictated by the power triangle as well. Avoid nose-to-nose combat. Make ships different enough to allow varied combat geometry, and discourage pip wiggling and other movement scripts. Okay. Boost regen rate is dictated by the power triangle, which they already mentioned. So the brief for this is they're now trying to tune the ships towards the intended roles, which means tuning the ships so they fit within an expected performance envelope for the things they were designed to do, while having a very clear pro and con. So light fighters like the Gladius will excel at 1v1 dogfights or swarm tactics, but they have low durability and the highest agility, so they excel at lateral acceleration and high rotation rate. Boost affects mostly lateral acceleration. I'll say that again. Boost affects mostly lateral acceleration. Interceptors or interdictors, like the 300i, I'd say the M50 probably goes in that as well, but they excel at forward acceleration, and they have very low durability. They carry specialized equipment, and they have the highest forward acceleration. Otherwise, it's got average agility. Boost affects mostly forward acceleration in these, so you'll be able to go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, like a Tesla or something. Medium fighters, they excel at high loadout flexibility due to the higher amount of hard points and equipment choices, and then they have average agility, average durability, and boost affects all axis equally. So this would be like the Super Hornet. Heavy fighters like the Vanguard, they excel at prolonged combat, in versus in engagements, whatever, however many ships versus however many ships. It's the only fighter class allowed to equip manned turrets. They have size 2 shields and heavy weaponry. They have poor agility, and boost affects all axis equally. So the boost, which was formerly known as Afterburner, has been reworked to offer only short-term advantages and discourage constant usage, which I don't know too many people that constantly use it. I tap and use it every once in a while. But anyways, the amount of boost available is dictated by the thruster capacitor charge, You can see that state on the HUD when you use it. Heat should not be the short-term limitation of boost anymore, and boost needs a minimum capacitor charge to engage. Let me go back. Heat should not be the short-term limitation of boost anymore, so you're not going to get that engine's overheating thing as often. Engaging boost is not instant, but it needs to spool for a short time before it is actually engaged. Boost not just affects the linear axis, but also the rotational acceleration as well, which is very useful on bigger ships. Boost has a minimum cost when employed and a regen delay after use, and the space brake does not automatically enable boost anymore. There is an option for that though. So most of the ships have also been updated with how much hit points they have on the hull, and some items, like certain elements like wings, are more sturdy now, and they won't fall apart as easily. Ships parts that carry a lot of items, like the Vanguard engine nacelles, are also much sturdier. So I could go into what they're looking for in the patch itself, but this is what we have to look forward to in 3.14. I hope you guys like this. Let me know if you're into it, if you like these changes, if you're just waiting to find out how they actually work in game. Yeah, let me know. I think it has potential. I'm still not sold on the capacitor gameplay exactly, but I'll have to play it to you know, make up my final decision or final mind on how I like it or not. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards this is a little weird. It's kind of a made up thing almost. So yeah, I don't know. I am looking forward to some of these changes though, because it's actually diversifying the ships, diversifying weapon types. It's making you choose weapons based off of what you're thinking you're going to encounter or need. It's a very good idea. I'd like CIG actually starting to move this direction. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Once again, thank you for tuning in to watch my videos. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you want to contribute to the channel, you can do that through the Patreon or YouTube members. You can also watch ads all the way through. You can click on the ads. All that helps the channel out. And thank you guys who do that. I really do appreciate it. Check out the ASMR video tonight as well. Hopefully you guys will like that. Let me know if you want to see more of those. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you out in the verse.